Check.
Hey,
Baby, check.
Is it working? Is it? Can you hear it? Ba, 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 ba. Ba, 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 ba. Is that all right? Can you hear it? Oh, bugger, we're live. Hang on a sec. Oh, goodness gracious. G'day, smilers, campers, and amazing human beings. How are you? What's up, Wednesday? I expect it to be pretty quiet tonight, Shorty, because the State of Origin's on. So I know a lot of people will be out and about watching that. But we're still here because it's important, right? It's important. So how are you, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Another huge week in the world of the business of smiles. Lots amazing things that have happened. Lots of amazing things that are happening. And it's, as usual, it's all systems go, but it's an honor and a privilege to be here tonight, more importantly, with you. And everyone that watches live, that watches the replay, and everything in between. And I'm excited for tonight because we have got a beautiful topic that we are talking about. What is it?
Listening. How important is listening? And I think it's the one thing you and I do really well, Shorty. And it's not always easy. And quite often, lots of things come up for you. But before we dive into listening, Shorty, I just want to really, I've got something pretty huge, which I'm just a little bit excited about, Shorty. I want to say a massive, massive thank you to David from Promo Brands, who in a chance meeting, I had the opportunity to sit with and have a conversation. And it's come about that I have no idea who David was at the time. I don't. Most people I meet out on the streets, and I was just so grateful because he understood what it's about and he felt it, which is what it's about. It's about connecting from my heart to your heart so that we connect our hearts and we all grow. There's one thing that I've always talked about a lot, and just to have this opportunity come to fruition is awesome. So I'm going to share a little bit with you of one of my presentations quickly because I am so stoked about this. What's that, Shorty?
It is a pen, Scott.
It's a black pen, yeah? You write with a pen, yeah? But without paper, it doesn't leave a mark. It's that connection to your hand. It's got no guidance. Simple pen with connection creates stories. You might just see a pen. But with a pen, you can write your story. The most important thing you have to give somebody else. You get to write to somebody to let them know how you feel. So it's not just a pen. It's an instrument for life to connect to one another, to connect to yourself, to your thoughts. As you sit and you write things down, process things. I don't know about you, Shorty, when I sit there and I write, I feel, hey, Toby, I'm gonna grab that in a sec. Hey, all the way from Slovakia. Love that. So thank you, Toby. But the power of a pen, right? It's not just the pen, it's what you do with it. So often in life, it's not the item, it's what you do with it that creates the connection, the energy, the emotion, the feeling that we can all come together. Why is that so relevant today? Why is that so relevant? David from Promo Brands has just produced 5,000 of these. We all have dark days. So let's share them. Let's write them down. Let's take them out of our head. Let's put them on paper. Let's look at the paper, see what we can improve, see what we can grow through. Take our thoughts and become the best version of ourselves. How wonderful is that? David, I can't thank you enough for one, seeing, feeling, believing in what we're doing, but 2, the gift and opportunity of support to share more stories, for people to own their stories, to create connection. It's not just a pen. That's 5,000 connections we get to have with people. 5,000 connections. People, if they take the opportunity, to sit and write and share their story and just open up, take the thoughts out of their head. 5,000 connections to themselves, their story. Oh, Shorty. How does that feel?
How amazing is that? And once again, we've talked about the rippling effect. But imagine 5,000 stories. Whoa, being heard. 5,000 stories being spoken about. And the rippling effect that that will have on families, communities, the greater good. What would that be like? Oh, wow. That's exciting.
And that's what I love, Shorty, right? Because it's those 5,000 stories, the opportunity to know your story better so that you can talk about your story, so that you can have the opportunity to be seen, heard, felt, which brings us into listening, right? Because we can only listen when someone's got something to share. To have the courage and to share the bravery to own you enough that you're confident enough to share, to practice it, to sit and write things down. Like Marcella often goes, you've got books everywhere that you just write in consistently. And it's so I don't hold the thoughts in my head, so I can get them out. And so then I don't have to keep it jammed in here. And I love that. I love it. I can't thank you enough, David. I can't thank you enough for the opportunities to come and to what will grow. And he's currently got the opportunity of COVID, so locked down. So hope you rest up well and come back nice and strong. But I can't thank you enough for this 5,000 opportunities to connect with people I've never met, and I'm so looking forward to that. So thank you. Over to you, Shorty.
And that's a beautiful segue. Once again, thank you, David. So appreciative. And to share one story is such a powerful thing to do. But when we share, who do we share it with? Who's on the receiving of your story? Who's on the receiving on the conversation that you have? And tonight we're talking about the art of listening, because it can be learnt, it can be taught. And we're going to unpack what is listening. We're going to unpack why listening is so important. We're going to unpack why do people, what's the challenge that people face around listening these days, and how can we improve? Because when we listen, the person that we are listening to, they feel something. There's a shift when you have that connection of truly holding the space and listening to them, listening to their story, listening to their message, listening to what's going on in their world. And they feel validated. They feel heard. They feel that connection. And Scott, this is something that you do undeniably the best I've ever experienced, is the listening factor. So what I want to find out from you, what do you feel is listening? What is it for you?
Great question, because I believe that every single person I've ever met has added value to my life. So I want to listen and learn more. I want to hear what somebody's been through, watch the emotion in their body, watch the opportunities. And when I do the conversations with my work role, where we're sitting there with men having conversations, or people via Zoom, I'm watching the body language and the way they feel. And understanding that allows me to listen and hear, and the enjoyment that I get from people sharing their stories or their opportunities, wins and losses, that both are just as profound. But it's a real enjoyment that I feel I get to know that person, that I feel they get to share themselves with me, and the safety that creates. So what's the key to it? What's the key to that listening? Because for me, I learned this when Oscar and I were in Sydney and we're doing a podcast. And I love listening, and I love hearing what's coming on so I can make a better decision. Basically, that's what it comes down to. If I listen and understand, then I can make a better decision on what it is I'm going to do for myself. And I love that. So we're in the middle of a podcast, and Alan Stevens was actually with us. And the interviewer's interviewing Oscar, and he's going along really super well. And then he stumbles. And he just could not get his words out. And I'm like, oh, every part of me, his father wants to jump straight in and like, just, you're right, you need a hand with hand. And I just held back. Eventually, he got himself together. He goes, I think we just need more love in the world. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, what a beautiful thing to hear from a 10-year-old boy at the time. And that moment, I realized how important it is not to put me into somebody else's story. Let them stumble. Let's hear them. Let's sit in the silence until they've finished what they've got to say. Because if you don't do that, you miss the gold. You miss the big thing that they might be coming to, they're working on. So often inside the conversations, inside the Campfire Project, which is something I adore being a part of, we talk for an hour, and it's always in the last 10 minutes the absolute gold comes out. It takes time to get to that. Asking questions, how does that feel for you? Okay, can you give me more about the context? How did that situation come about? Oh, okay. That deep understanding, listening, it's just curiosity. So I've probably gone well sideways there, but I think it's really important, right? Because, go.
Can I just grab something there? And you said a key word, many keywords, but the key word of curiosity. And I think curiosity and listening goes really hand in hand, because it's that focus on the person that you are listening to, curious about their story, curious about what they've got to say, curious about not having to solve any problems, but what else? What else is going on for them? What else? And I love that question, what else? Because it's it keeps on getting to the core. Because a lot of the time when I'm listening, that surface stuff is like, it's usually the vent, which is totally cool. I go, cool, what else? Cool, what else? And it keeps on going, what else? What else? And then finally you can feel a shift when they come back into their body. And it's just like, whoa. And I go, what just happened? And I don't know. I just feel, So, yeah, cool. Thank you. And that curiosity really unpacks listening so many levels. And it's the ability to hold that space. Because what can happen, and I've put my hand up so many times of like, I could solve this problem. Guys, we love solving problems. Or I could solve that problem. Or if we did that, so often. Or it's just like, notification, bing. Or, there's a shiny object. Maybe I could talk about that. Or how could I respond to that question? All that internal dialogue that goes on in my head. But But when I get curious, I'll reframe it. This is for me. When I get curious, all that stuff drops, and it's like boom, straight to that person. What else? How, when you're listening, Scott, how do you process that information? What goes on for you?
Good question. Because I always sit, especially when I'm doing something like this, I always sit with the pen in my hand, right? And you'll see. I'll actually grab some. Just look for a couple of different pages, So I'll just write. You can't really read my handwriting, but I will write key notes about emotional discussion, just words that I hear that trigger me. And, cool, put it down because it's not important. But I always find that humans are great at picking up each other's presence, right? It's something I think we could talk a whole lot more about, is the fact that our body language, right? Our body language talks for us. So quite often, someone will be talking and you can see them thinking. What else? Okay, so how does that make you feel? Okay. So what did that do for you? Okay. And then the penny drops, right? And you see them relax. We as human beings, because we're dealing with people all the time, or in general, when we've got a lot of connection, then the opportunity there is you feel that with them because you see the change and your mind grabs it and goes, that's the part that I'm looking for. That's the part of listening that really goes, oh, okay, that's what that means. And getting an understanding for somebody else gives you a clearer picture of what's going on. Because so often when you're listening, as you were just talking, then Shorty, like going through things, it's getting a bit busy. Okay, where's the goal? Where's the goal? Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking that. I'm looking for it. I'm looking for your body language to change so that I can understand that it's ready. Like, no different to before. When you opened your mouth and I'm watching the screen, I know you're ready to talk. So I will shut up, which is something really important, because it doesn't matter, even if somebody's thank you. I don't know who that is because we can't see it, but thank you. It's really important, right? Let's pop that up there. Because when you're wanting to be heard, you won't be heard until the other person feels heard, period. So if you're talking and then they start talking, stop. They've chosen to talk over the top. That's their choice. They've already done it. Just stop. Let them finish completely. Is there anything else you'd like to share? No? Anything else you'd like to share? Thank you for that. Then either go back into or take the new information you've got and expand your conversation. Big stuff, but it's really important. It's really important to take your time in the conversations. One of the things that you'll notice you and I both do, Shorty, is when one of us has spoken, quite often we will go, okay, so this is where we're going with that. We've thought about it. We've taken the time, which also gives the body language of, I'm thinking about it. That person's listened to me. They've heard me. They're thinking about what I've just said before they answer. Such an important part of good listening. Taking time to respond. It doesn't have to be straight away. No? How's that drop?
Beautiful. Because I think that's, once again, so many golden nuggets in that, but the ability to identify the body language, as we know, body language is 55% of communication. And so when we can have those cues, you can see when one talks where they're at. Are they listening, or are they checked out, or are they unengaged, or are they thinking of a response, or are they can trying to process that information, you can pick that up on a visual cue and even an energetic cue through body language, because it just puts it all out on the table, which is a beautiful thing, right? You know where the conversation is going, particularly as you mentioned, as they start to talk and you listen, you can see where that shift is through their language and through their body language of what's going on. What are they actually processing as they verbalize it? It's a beautiful thing to do. And what I love is just to continually to breathe. What I notice is that when I hold my breath, I start to think, but and it goes up into my head. But if I continue to breathe deeply, what I notice is that I actually stay in my body. And when I stay in my body and I listen, the connection is it's just so much more stronger and so much more deeper. But when I start to hold my breath, it goes up in my head and the head starts going, it's quite an interesting process. So the power of the breath for me, of coming back into the body, allows me to listen better, connect better, and really have a deeper understanding. What I'm interested in is over the years, Scott, is obviously through technology, obviously through what the last couple of years have shown. Where do you think listening has come from, say, 10 years ago to now? What do you think's changed?
I'm going to go back even further, because one of the greatest things that I did as a young kid, I was a bit of a rat bag, and I ended up having to go and get I used to get aggression counselling, right, when I was 13 years old. And I had this, I actually would love to catch up with him. Bala Mudalay is his name, this little Indian guy. And I just put it to him. I wasn't happy that I was there, and he knew all about it. So they put me into the local youth centre, where they went to the Vic Pol Police Academy, and we learned about body language, how our presence actually has a big statement. And it was one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given, because as you said earlier, communication's not about just the words you speak and listening. It's about your presence and how you hold that. And it's so powerful. But going back 10 years, so that was way back when I was 13, so that's 32 odd years ago. So that's been an opportunity to understand my presence. However, the biggest part for me was actually reading Stephen Covey's 7 Habits. Seek first to understand. And as much as I thought I could communicate, I wasn't communicating. I was talking at people and telling them what I thought they wanted to hear, and I was telling them what I needed, or I thought I needed to share. So I'd gone from a workplace of dominance, where I, quite a few steel fixers working with us, and it just shows dominance. That was my tool of choice over the boys, just rule with an iron fist. And I'm grateful that things in life didn't work out for me. That sounds a bit ironic, doesn't it? But I think they've worked out so much better, because I'm so much better person these days. I'm so much more open to wanting to understand and having and learning a growth mindset. But the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, to me, is probably the single most important thing that I've ever learned, to be honest. I'm sure you've read that and implemented that into your life too, Shorty.
That habit is one of the best habits, to seek first to understand, then to be understood, is just, it's phenomenal, right? Is because you, once again, coming back to curiosity of finding out what is going on for that person. Where is that coming from? Why do they feel the need to do X, Y, Z? How does that make them feel? Where is that played out in past areas of their life? Where did it first start for them? All those deep understanding questions to really understand what's going on. Like, totally, there's no solutions right now. Just understand, like, what's happening, why, what, when, how. Like, just let me hear it all. And I think going through that and really, as you said, understanding that person's view of the world and why whatever's going on for them there and then, and holding that space and listening. It's a beautiful point that Stephen Covey's made. Seek first to understand. It's absolutely amazing. So I'm interested for those, personally, I've seen over the years, due to technology, the shorter attention span. Things are speeding up. The frame rates of computers, like I watch some of the kids' YouTube stuff, and I feel like I'm in a nightclub. Like, it's like the strobe lighting, it's full on. Mate, there's a clip that they watch, the Norris Nuts, and it's just like, I can only last like 2 minutes because it's just like full on go go go. The frame rate is so quick, and it's just intense, and that's going to the kids' heads. Like, TV, all these stimuli, which I personally think, if that stimuli is going in, then how do we have the capacity to be still? How do we have that capacity to be present? How do we have that capacity to sit with our thoughts while being present and being connected? What do you think about that around technology and listening? Where is that for you?
Technology is one of the greatest opportunities we've got. We're connected all over the world. You and I have connected through technology. You and I have never met. 12 days' time, we meet for the first time. We've been doing this for 18 months. I know, right? So I get to shake your hand, give you a hug, hold you, look you in the eye, and be grateful for that opportunity of what we've created. But there's also the downside to it. But like anything, we've got to use it for a while before we truly get to understand it. And I think right now, more than ever, we're going to understand what's the purpose of being human, right? What is the purpose? So we're heading down this robotic track very quickly. We're going down this road. We're locking into the computers. We're locking in, moving away from our natural nature and the opportunities there. There's one thing in life that is the greatest gift, bar none, and that's presence. Right? We all love presence. When you're present with somebody, that is a big part of listening, right? And it's to be present is to listen, to be curious. Like, in a world of instant gratification, and I have no problems with it. I think we all need to learn our different paths. I think we're all on an adventure. We're all pens, right? We are all pens. We've all got our own story to write, right? So the only way in which we understand something else is we actually go into curiosity and learn more, which we've already covered. However, it is the opportunity to know somebody that is the true gift in life. To actually get to know somebody means you're not alone. Means you're with somebody. They're present with you. What are my concerns around the speed of everything? Think about it, right? You make love. Hard and fast. What do you make love? Where's the real reward? For me, it's in making love. Think about you sit around, you cook a casserole, you got a casserole, mate. You cook the casserole. It takes time for it to tenderize. It takes time for it to develop into all the things. Think about when we learn to walk. Don't just walk. It takes time to walk. It takes time to learn to do that. We're humans. We are so complex. We need to know each other. We need to learn to listen so that we can understand each other, because we've all had different experiences in life. And it's accumulation of those experiences that makes you the unique opportunity that you are. And you're bloody wonderful. Like, you really are. So give someone the gift of life, your presence. Yeah. Sorry, Shorty, I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I'm okay with that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, as we come into a close, we come into a landing for another What's Up Wednesday. We'd love to hear your thoughts around listening. What is listening to you? How has that impacted your world, your life? How has that presence given you a present? So reach out. Love to hear your thoughts. And we've got, as a final note, we've got some huge announcements coming up. In June 20, we start our Northern Rivers Run, which we are super, super excited to do, where we're actually going to the Evans Head community up here in the Northern Rivers, and we're just going to sit and listen. Listen to people's stories. Listen to people's journey of how they've gone through these floods and recovered. We're working with the Rotary up here to put on a breakfast, hand out socks, and sitting around and listen. Then we run 40 odd Ks to Lismore, and we're working with the Living School to actually do the same thing on Tuesday, the 21st of June, to sit around, have breakfast, listen to their stories of the Lismore community, hand out some socks, share those stories. Then we're off again when we run to Mullumbimby, where on Wednesday, the 22nd of June, we're sitting around having breakfast and listening once more, handing out socks, hearing the stories, hearing the journey of what's happened over the last few months. And just like the pen, just like the ink that writes, we need fuel to make this happen. We need the ink to get us through those 3 days. We've got some amazing support already, but we're actually after some more support. We've got some beautiful cold water crazies coming up to help us, but we need fuel to actually put in petrol, to put into the motorhomes, to put into the cars. So we're going to put our My Cause link, $1, $5, $500. Anything will help us to get the fuel, to get the food, and to help us make a difference. So from my heart to your heart, thank you for listening tonight. Much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Shorty. I want to second that. You know, we Shorty and I are giving our best gifts. We're putting them forward. That's our presence. That's the gift we're bringing forward. We need help to make that happen. You know, we've got a price tag of $2,050 to cover the cost of the motorhomes, petrol, food, bits and pieces, because we need to go in there completely self-sufficient, because we don't want to use up any resources in and around the Northern Rivers area. But we'd love your help. Love your help to make this happen. You know, it's going to happen regardless. You're going to make our journey a little bit easier if you get behind us. So, my heart to yours, Shorty. Love you. I just love having these conversations. I love putting our hearts on the table, and you know, hopefully that, you know, if one person hears this and it makes a difference to their heart, fantastic. You know, that's what it's about. It's a ripple effect. So, both of our hearts, thank you very much. Have a great night, and I'm sure you'll see us next week.
Bye for
Hey,
now.
Shorty.
Where's that bloody button?
No, I think I found it. No, hang on. Where's that bloody button?